Consider a scenario where your understanding of connections, yearning, and control was only partially accurate. What if there existed a layer so profoundly concealed by centuries of societal conditioning that the majority never even perceive it? Now, contemplate this. What if Socrates himself possessed the key to comprehending an aspect of women that society has been too apprehensive to confront for millennia? This isn't merely another philosophical discussion. It's an exploration capable of unsettling the very bedrock of your perceptions. It commences with one of the most provocative inquiries ever posed. What do women genuinely desire? And what role does power play in their unspoken thoughts? In this presentation, we delve into a domain that many dread, some repudiate, and a select few courageous individuals dare to investigate. Yet I assure you, by its conclusion, you will view the world and yourself with such clarity that regressing to ignorance will be impossible. And indeed, the ultimate revelation holds the greatest impact. Therefore, if you are prepared to face truths that most shy away from, if you are ready to unearth ancient wisdom hidden in plain sight, remain with me until the very end, for what you are about to encounter may indeed transform your life. Before we proceed further, I encourage you to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments, as your insights and queries fuel truly meaningful dialogues. Please share this video if it resonates deeply with you. We are just beginning, and believe me, the forthcoming revelations are entirely unexpected. Now, returning to Socrates. Socrates never authored a single text, yet his legacy fundamentally shaped Western philosophy. He roamed the streets of Athens, unadorned and audacious, challenging politicians, poets, and ordinary citizens. However, one topic, arguably more perilous than politics or theology, frequently eluded deep examination: the essence of women, their desires, and the often invisible influence they wield. He was acutely aware of the sway women held. His own spouse, Xanthippe, was characterized as sharp-tongued and resolute, a woman who relentlessly challenged Socrates. Many dismissed her as difficult. But consider, why would a mind like Socrates, a relentless seeker of truth, align himself with such a person unless there was a profound lesson embedded even within that relationship? The reality is, Socrates perceived something few dared to acknowledge: that beneath society's veneer, women have consistently commanded a power that transcends the visible. An emotional, psychological, and social influence capable of reshaping the world without ever needing explicit declaration. Yet, here lies the paradox. In public, ancient Athenian women were expected to embody silence, modesty, and obedience. Conversely, within the private sphere, in family life, in intimate relationships, in the upbringing of sons and warriors, they exercised a distinct form of dominance. A subtle power, an unspoken authority, the kind that doesn't demand overt attention but subtly orchestrates everything. What if this power, still profoundly active today, operates quietly in contemporary life, affecting decisions, guiding relationships, and molding identities, all while remaining unacknowledged? Centuries later, Carl Jung would articulate something remarkably similar. He spoke of the unconscious feminine residing within the psyche of every man, a force that seduces, inspires, confuses, and completes him. But here's the crucial twist. If a man remains unaware of this, it doesn't vanish. Instead, it dictates his actions from the shadows. Now ponder this. What transpires when this internal feminine force and archetype intersects with actual women in our lives? Are we interacting with individuals, or with our own projections? Are we truly conscious of their genuine impact, or are we merely dancing to unseen strings that we refuse to acknowledge? Most men never pose these questions, and precisely for this reason, they remain ensnared in recurring cycles of attraction, perplexity, resentment, and yearning. The philosopher Alain de Botton once astutely remarked, "We fall in love not with those who are right for us, but with those who feel familiar." This familiarity stems from our innate quest for something lost or never discovered within ourselves. It is here that Socrates' insights become potent, for he compels us to scrutinize what lies beneath, not merely facts, but motives, not just appearances, but essence. When applied to the feminine, this necessitates questioning what genuinely captivates us, what we project onto others, and what truths we actively avoid recognizing. Now, envision a society where such inquiries are never raised, where men are indoctrinated to conquer, provide, and pursue, but never to grasp the profound depths of feminine psychology. In such a world, women are reduced to symbols, desires, and mysteries, often feared, seldom understood. And women, generation after generation, learn to navigate this pervasive blindness, to leverage it, not through malicious intent, but as a mechanism for survival. The wisdom passed down is often unwritten. It is instinctively felt, shared between mothers and daughters through hushed conversations, innate understanding, and sheer resilience. Simone de Beauvoir famously stated, quote 1, "This process of becoming, this metamorphosis, unfolds within a societal framework that rewards silence and penalizes direct confrontation. However, silence is not an absence. It is a meticulously crafted strategy, and within this lies an uncomfortable truth. Many women desire this video to remain undiscovered. However, it's not because it exposes their character, but rather because it illuminates a dynamic that silently benefits them. The allure, the enigma, the intricate dance of pursuit. Should this illusion be dispelled, the underlying dynamic shifts, and power, once recognized, transforms. You might wonder, though, if this is manipulation or an evolutionary adaptation. Consider it a reflection of nature itself. Just as animals develop camouflage for survival, humans develop various roles. Not every strategy is overtly expressed. Some are archetypal, some mythical. Socrates understood that myth transcended mere storytelling. It embodied a psychological truth. This video does not aim to assign blame or accuse. Its purpose is to enlighten. If we aspire to cultivate more profound relationships, genuine connections, and true comprehension, we must cease viewing women as enigmas to decipher or ideals to relentlessly pursue. Instead, we must begin to perceive them as intricate beings navigating a world that often restricts their full expression. To achieve this, we must first engage in introspection. Socrates famously advised, "Know thyself." But what if self-knowledge involves recognizing the profound, yet subtle, influence the feminine has had on your thoughts, feelings, and aspirations? An influence you never anticipated. And what if I suggested we've barely scratched the surface? This exploration is simultaneously delicate and potent because we are not solely dealing with verifiable facts. We are grappling with centuries of suppressed truths, deeply buried instincts, and emotional currents that seldom find articulation. This is precisely why men often sense an imbalance in relationships, but struggle to identify its cause. It's not that women are deliberately concealing something. Rather, we were never educated to discern the invisible architecture of emotional power. Socrates, throughout all his dialogues, pursued one objective with unwavering tenacity: the essence over illusion. He would never accept a superficial answer. He would delve relentlessly until the foundational assumptions fractured and the unvarnished, uncomfortable truth emerged. If he were alive today, he wouldn't inquire, quote 3, in the typical manner of most men. Instead, he would ask, quote 4. This is the kind of profound inquiry that resonates to your very core. It compels you to confess that many of the prescribed behaviors we adhere to, concerning dating, masculinity, and success, are inherited, not consciously chosen. They were transmitted to us by media, cultural norms, and misguided role models. These scripts extol the man who commands attention, dominates, and performs, but offer little about the man who truly listens, reflects, and discerns beyond superficialities. But what transpires when you begin to truly perceive? You come to realize that feminine power is not a deception, it is an energy. It is subtle, fluid, intuitive, frequently undervalued, yet immeasurably influential. From the way a simple glance can undermine a man's confidence to how silence can be more impactful than a barrage of words, feminine power does not always manifest with a roar. Sometimes it whispers, and those whispers shape destinies. Psychologist Eric Newman, a protege of Jung, theorized that the feminine psyche harbored the primal blueprint of transformation. He characterized it as the Great Mother, not a literal figure, but a profound emblem of life's inherent chaos, mystery, sustenance, and peril. To confront this archetype meant confronting the aspects of existence that simultaneously terrify and enthrall us: love, mortality, creation, abandonment. And most men are ill-equipped for this confrontation because we have been conditioned to believe in control, in logic, in directness. However, the feminine is not always direct. It is symbolic, emotional, and multi-layered. And that is not a sign of weakness. It is a mark of complexity, a complexity that unlocks understanding not only of women, but also of ourselves. So, what do women genuinely desire? Socrates would not have provided a definitive answer. Instead, he would have persisted in questioning until the query itself dissolved, and something more profound surfaced. Perhaps women do not seek a man who possesses all the answers. Perhaps they seek a man who sees, who listens, who feels, who reveres the enigma of the dance, and is not afraid to engage in it. Yet, here lies the challenge. Seeing entails risk. The risk of forfeiting certainty. The risk of scrutinizing one's own desires. The risk of recognizing how deeply what we label as attraction is influenced by childhood wounds, unfulfilled needs, and societal conditioning. Consider, for instance, emotional availability. Many men become perplexed when a seemingly profound connection abruptly becomes distant. But what if you looked beyond your frustration and pondered, was I genuinely available, or was I merely feigning availability? Because women, particularly those who have endured emotional trials, can discern the difference. They may not articulate it verbally, but they intrinsically know. They sense it. And when they withdraw, it is not manipulation. It is an act of preservation. In this light, the silence of women ceases to be an absence. It becomes a language all its own. In Plato's Symposium, Socrates recounts a dialogue with Diotima, a woman, priestess, and philosopher, who instructs him that love transcends mere possession. It is about becoming. The ascendant journey of love and self-discovery. Diotima instructs us that love initiates with physical allure, but must progress through successive phases, ultimately reaching the beauty of the soul, the principles of knowledge, and finally, the splendor of the eternal. This profound concept bears contemplation. Genuine connection is an arduous ascent, a ladder few endeavor to climb. The reluctance stems from the necessity to relinquish illusions, superficial antics, and the incessant craving for external validation. It demands entry into a sacred realm where love transcends control, security, or performance, becoming instead a catalyst for profound transformation. Herein lies a challenging truth for many. Such transformation does not serve the ego. Rather, it dismantles it. This transformative power is precisely what women, whether knowingly or unknowingly, frequently ignite in men. They mirror the suppressed aspects of our being, our vulnerability, our anxieties, our yearning for purpose. This isn't an attempt to fix us, but their very presence, particularly in its evolved form, precipitates the collapse of artificial personas. Should a man resist this introspective process, he repudiates not only the woman, but also his own inherent growth. Consider for a moment. Have you ever felt inexplicably drawn to someone who stirred an ancient sentiment within you? Desire, apprehension, admiration, perhaps even unease. This is not mere chance. It indicates a soulful encounter. Regardless of whether that individual remained or departed, their presence in your life was intended to awaken you to something you were evading. This might explain why certain women find this discourse unsettling. When men truly awaken, they cease pursuing fantasies. They no longer perceive women as saviors or destroyers, as trophies or threats. Instead, they begin to view them as reflections, mirrors that reveal not the woman's essence, but the man's true self beneath his defenses. Socrates was deemed perilous not for possessing answers, but for his relentless inquiry into foundational beliefs. He compelled us to examine the confines of our mental prisons and question their construction and our continued incarceration. So, I pose this question to you. What are your convictions about women, about love, about your own heart? Do these beliefs facilitate your growth or limit your potential? While truth is rarely comforting, it is invariably liberating. In the subsequent segment, we will delve deeper into this liberation, exploring how feminine psychology, long misconstrued and misrepresented, holds the key to a man's ultimate metamorphosis. We will investigate strategies for men to transcend entrenched patterns of control and dependency, finally perceiving the feminine not as a menace or an ideal, but as a sacred engine of evolution. Be forewarned, few will ever encounter this next part, which is precisely why you must. The truth we are uncovering is frequently dismissed, derided, or ignored because it threatens the very constructs that keep humanity in a state of slumber. Once men begin to grasp the intrinsic nature of the feminine and their unconscious bond with it, manipulative games cease to function. Deception crumbles, and confusion dissipates. In its stead, something unsettling emerges: clarity. Yet clarity is not comfortable. It demands accountability. You can no longer assign blame for your tribulations, chase ephemeral shadows, hoping they will transform into light, or feign innocence through ignorance. The myth of Psyche and Eros recounts how the goddess Psyche was forbidden to gaze upon her lover Eros's face, instructed that love must remain veiled. However, one night, unable to bear the enigma any longer, she lit a lamp and observed his sleeping visage. In that instant, everything shifted. Eros awoke and departed, plunging Psyche into an arduous odyssey to reclaim what was lost. This myth transcends mere romance. It symbolizes the moment we elect to see with utmost clarity, abandoning fantasy to confront reality. For men, this pivotal realization often occurs when they recognize their relationships have been governed not by authentic presence and awareness, but by projections and fear. Jung elucidated this through the concept of the inner feminine, or anima, within the male psyche. If this remains unconscious, it unduly influences a man's perceptions. He seeks it externally, idealizing women, resenting them upon disappointment, and perpetuating a cyclical pattern. He does not genuinely love the actual woman before him, but rather the ideal she embodies. However, when the anima is brought into consciousness, a profound transformation transpires. The man no longer needs to seek completion outside himself. He becomes whole. Only then can he love, not from necessity, but from a place of truth. This is what Socrates alluded to in his dialogues, what Plato reiterated, and what mystics across civilizations have always understood. Love, in its most exalted form, is a conduit to self-realization. Yet the path is narrow, and few traverse it. Most opt for comfort, convenience, and validation, sacrificing depth for security. But security is not love, it is familiarity, and familiarity often echoes unresolved past wounds. How often have you remained in a situation not because it was genuinely suitable, but simply due to its familiarity? How frequently have you mistaken being desired for being truly understood? And how many times have you pursued someone, hoping they would fill an inner void, only to find that emptiness growing deeper? This isn't a sign of weakness, it's profoundly human. Yet the era of pretense is drawing to a close. When men genuinely awaken, they begin to perceive what has always been present but largely unacknowledged. The feminine isn't a riddle to be solved. It's a potent force, an expansive field, an intrinsic intelligence that manifests through feeling, intuition, and presence. It cannot be controlled, it can only be honored. Now, here's a point many will contest. Numerous women, whether consciously or unconsciously, test men to assess their capacity to withstand that force, not through logical reasoning, but through energetic resonance, through disruption, through inconsistency. This isn't intended to harm you, but to reveal your true nature. Can you maintain your composure when she's tempestuous? Can you provide a space of support when she's emotionally unraveling? Can you perceive beyond the surface layers, not to fix her, but to love her with greater profundity? This challenge is far from simple. It demands a different kind of strength, not mere brute force, but emotional self-governance. Not domination, but profound depth. And crucially, it necessitates a presence that cannot be feigned. This is because women, particularly those deeply connected to their feminine essence, sense everything. They discern when you're concealing something. They recognize when your smile is a facade. They know when you are truly present and when you are not. This is precisely why the feminine can be daunting for the unprepared man. She sees through you, not to shame you, but to invite you into genuine authenticity. In ancient mystery traditions, initiation transcended mere knowledge acquisition. It was about metaphorical death and subsequent rebirth. The ego needed to perish for the soul to emerge. And frequently, this quote 6 occurred through an encounter with the feminine, not the individual woman herself, but with what she embodies, the unknown, the emotional realm, the irrational, the intuitive, the transformative. Modern society has lost touch with this understanding. It diminishes women to roles, labels, and stereotypes, and it reduces men to perpetual performers, constantly striving, always seeking validation, never finding respite. But respite is precisely what men require, not physical rest, but psychological stillness. A stillness to truly listen, a stillness to deeply feel, a stillness to observe the feminine without attempting to correct or fear her. Only from this profound stillness can authentic connection begin. Socrates taught by asking questions, not because he lacked answers, but because he understood that answers held no value unless discovered internally. His aim wasn't to impress, it was to liberate. So consider this question, worthy of your most profound deliberation. Are you operating from reaction or from revelation? When a woman challenges you, do you withdraw or lean into the experience? When you feel inadequate, do you lash out, retreat, or engage in self-reflection? When love feels distant, do you pursue it more aggressively, or do you turn inward? Every moment serves as a trial, not from her, but from life itself. And if you navigate these trials, not through perfection, but through genuine presence, you will enter a realm few ever encounter. A realm where love signifies partnership, not possession. Where intimacy transcends sexual acts to encompass soul connection. Where women are not mere objects of desire, but profound oracles of awakening. When you reach this state, the entire charade ends. The performance ceases, the confusion dissolves. In its place, a new perspective emerges, a vision that redefines not just your relationships, but your fundamental identity. And this vision, the one men throughout history have both dreaded and yearned for, is what we will unveil in the subsequent section. For it is in the ultimate phase that we confront the fundamental truth, the truth most men never hear, the truth that, once recognized, cannot be unlearned. And it is this very truth that transforms not only how you engage with women, but how you engage with existence itself. Everything leading up to this point has been preparation, shedding layers of illusion, confronting the subconscious, dismantling the inherited myths surrounding love, women, and power. But now, we delve into the truth that alters everything. Not the kind of truth neatly encapsulated in books or lectures, but the kind that resonates in your very bones, the kind that either frees you or shatters you. Socrates believed that the pinnacle of wisdom was acknowledging one's own ignorance, that true strength arose not from exerting power over others, but from mastery of oneself. And concerning the feminine, not just women, but the eternal feminine principle, this is precisely the domain most men assiduously avoid. Because here lies an uncomfortable reality. Most men are not afraid of women themselves. They are afraid of what women stir within them. They are afraid of vulnerability, of being fully seen, of being called to embody their complete presence. They are afraid of their own deep capacities. For when you encounter a woman who truly sees you, there is no longer anywhere to conceal yourself. She isn't concerned with your finances, your accomplishments, or your public persona. She perceives your integrity. She senses your inner void. She tests not to control you, but to summon your soul forward. You cannot authentically connect with another if you cannot master yourself. Many women will never articulate this openly, yet every single one feels it deeply. They don't seek perfect partners, they yearn for present ones. They desire men who remain steadfast in the face of strong emotions, who don't retreat when challenged, and who don't crumble when intimacy becomes profound. This is because a woman's deepest desire isn't to control or diminish a man, but to be truly met by him. She wants to be felt, to be heard, and to be seen not as an obligation or a role, but as a vibrant mystery. The irony here is profound. A man who attempts to dominate a woman ultimately loses himself, but in truly meeting her, he discovers his authentic self. Modern society has conditioned men to perform, to seek approval, to accumulate power, and to chase status. However, none of these superficial pursuits touch the soul, because power without genuine presence is meaningless. Success lacking depth is hollow, and relationships devoid of truth are merely prisons disguised as pleasure. This pivotal moment challenges everything you believed you desired. Do you prioritize control or authentic connection? Performance or raw presence? Comfort or unvarnished truth? For truth, by its very nature, will be transformative. It will shatter your illusions. It will dismantle the smaller, inhibited version of yourself. Yet, from the remnants of that false identity, a new man emerges. This man no longer desperate for love, but embodies it. He no longer strives to impress, but inspires merely by existing. He doesn't just theorize about philosophy, he lives it. Such a man is formidable, not because he seeks dominance over others, but because he is immune to manipulation. He perceives clearly. He understands deeply. He makes choices from a place of profound awareness. This is why women both yearn for his presence and, paradoxically, fear his arrival. When a man like this enters her life, he doesn't engage in games. He doesn't succumb to drama. He doesn't seek validation. Instead, he gently, intensely, and authentically invites her into the truth. And the truth is this: the feminine doesn't crave a subservient partner. She desires a mirror that reflects her own sacred chaos, her beauty, her rage, her passion, and holds it all with unwavering presence. This kind of presence cannot be fabricated. It originates from a man who has confronted his own shadows, navigated his personal pain, and emerged transformed, not embittered, not broken, but whole. Such individuals are rare because they cannot be shaped by comfort. They are forged in hardship. Now, the decision is yours. You can disregard all of this, revert to familiar patterns, continue pursuing validation, power, and illusions. Or you can embark on an internal revolution, the kind Socrates championed, the kind Jung explored, the kind women sense but seldom voice. It is the revolution of presence, not merely in romantic partnerships, but in every single moment of your life. Can you be fully present when it matters most? When your partner is distressed, when your child is afraid, when your aspirations are crumbling, when your own heart breaks open? Can you still stand, still breathe, still choose love over fear? This is a power no woman can bestow upon you, and none can take away. It is the one essential thing men must reclaim for themselves. And this is the truth women secretly hope you never uncover, not because they dread your awakening, but because it fundamentally alters everything. It transforms how you perceive them, how you love them, how you honor them, and crucially, how you honor yourself. This is not an ending. It is the genesis of a profoundly different existence, a life grounded in truth, rooted in presence, and liberated from illusion. Socrates did not fear death because he had already transcended illusion. He lived fully. He questioned deeply. He cherished wisdom more than comfort. Now, the question is yours to answer. Will you awaken, or will you remain asleep, secure in your performance, untouched by the truth that beckons you forward? Whatever path you choose, understand this: the gateway to truth is perpetually open. However, only the courageous dare to pass through it.